respect the flag. That's all I can say.
All right, this is a little let's say sci-fi virus type movie. I know they've been done a million times, right? So any reflection or coincidences on anything that's in my little write-up here, not write-up, video on a sci-fi movie I was thinking about. And strictly, it's not fact, so don't get all excited. It's just a sci-fi movie. And anyway, so give you a quick rundown. You have like any science fiction movie, virus movie or whatever, the United States is always involved, China's always involved. Sometimes they pick on small countries. So we're gonna go with the United States and China. That's what it always revolves around. United States and China or Russia, Germany. Some pretty good movies out there. And I think the telescope is actually too high. We're getting like way up here. So anyway, on to it. Okay, so you had in the U.S. you had a two-party system. We're going to say the Patriot Party, and we're going to say the Democrats. Now, the Democrats, they lost their election, 5 years ago, whatever, let's say. So anyway, they lost their election. They hated the Patriot being in there because he was all about, America first and making the country respected and great again. Usual thing, unemployment at record lows and everything was looking good. Economy was strong. The Patriot Party was going to get reelected. So in a way, the Democrats, as soon as they lost the race, they were looking at, well, how can we gain the presidency back and do whatever we need to do. So in a way, the Democrats, some of the let's say they were the Secretary of State, let's say, and for 4 years they were out visiting other countries, Iran, China, Russia, telling them don't make a deal with the U.S., with the Patriots, don't make a deal with them. We're going to take over in 2020. So don't worry about it, just don't make any deals. So they were undermining the government that was all about the people, for the people. So anyway, they were trying to figure out how they could take it back. So it wasn't looking too good for them, okay? It was looking mighty sad. So what they did is they said, well, you know what? We give money to a lab over in China and to research biological weapons because the United States, everybody knows that chemical and biological weapons were banned years ago. So anyway, rough rundown. So anyway, so they were over trying to undermine the government. Meanwhile, the Democrats were plotting to take everything back over, but they couldn't figure out how to do it. So they put some old fart, put him and ran him for president. The guy can't talk, can't form sentences, screws up all the time. I mean, I could do a video just on gaffes, of real life gaffes. Nothing to do with my movie here. So anyway, so what they did is they contacted China. It was always China, Russia, U.S. So anyway, so they were working with China, and they said, hey, how we give you 15, 20 million, whatever, for your research into biological or chemical weapons. So they said, what would it take to accidentally release a virus? And the Chinese head honchos there were like, what the hell are you talking about? And they said, well, if you help us release this virus, we will guarantee we're going to take over the White House, and we're going to take over, we're going to be like head honchos, so, we'll help you out. So, of course, the Chinese government, as normal, what they would always portray in movies, they said, yeah, we can do that. We got a lab right here in, let's pick a city, Wuhan. How about that? That's a good city. And so anyway, so they were working on this virus for almost close to 3 years. They were trying to get it to where the death rate was high but not too terrible, that it would spread. It was developed so it could take 10 days, a week to 10 days, to 2 weeks rather, before you would even have symptoms. So you could have the virus, not even know you have it, no symptoms at all, and then you can spread it around. So then the Democrat Party said, yeah, let's do that. We'll give you whatever you want. So they said, okay. So anyway, so they released this virus, escaped the lab accidentally. So anyway, the Communist Party said, hey, we got this. So they released it from the lab, and they banned all the flights inside their own country because they didn't want it spreading because they knew how bad it was. So they says, okay, we're going to let it spread, but we're going to take flights and cancel all travel in country so it doesn't spread to our own people. So that's pretty smart on China's part. I'll give them that. Keep in mind, this is just a fantasy film. It's not, actual based on any facts. So keep that in mind. Anybody can, develop a script, tell a story. So anyway, so they released this virus into the world, out into the world. And, death tolls and places shutting down, horrible. The whole planet was infected. So anyway, so the Democrats said, okay, now that we got our buddies to release this virus, it'll be here in no time. Well, it was delayed because the head of the Patriot Party, said, you know what? No, I've seen this movie. I've seen it. I've seen plenty of these movies, so you know what? We're not going to allow flights coming in from China because that's where the virus came from. So we're going to stop that. So they did, and it held it at bay. And then you had the Democrat Party telling everybody, knowing it was deadly. Now, they knew it was deadly. You have Democrat Party, come on down to Chinatown. Come on down to New York. Everybody party. It's all safe. Even their head of the U.S. Infectious disease guy was like, cutting off travel from Europe and China and all that. Oh, that's a stupid idea. No reason for that. So anyway, so then all of a sudden they announced lockdowns. Typical virus, lock everything down. Just like all the other sci-fi movies. So anyway, so they locked everything down, figuring, okay, that'll give us a year, almost a year, 9 months, before the election, and we can sabotage them. So that's what they did. So the virus got released, and then all the fingers were Patriot Party was pointing at China. Oh, that's where it came from. So China says, oh no, it didn't. The United States Army came over there and released it in China. So that's a good cover. That could happen. So anyway, so the virus spread, everything was shut down. So the Democrats were plotting 4 years before that on taking over. So the virus spread, then it finally made its way to the United States and, screwed everything up, places shut down, depression, suicide, through the roof, job losses, the economy was hit hard, jobs were just unfreaking believable, everything was shut down, so it was, and they didn't care. The Democrats had their inside man, FH, we'll call the guy. Anyway, so he said, oh yeah, now you got to shut it down. So they shut it down, and their object was to keep the economy and everything shut down until the election, because then they knew they could do whatever they needed to take office. So anyway, so the virus is spreading around throughout the United States, normal sci-fi. And people dying left and right, numbers blown out of proportion. All of a sudden, the flu season, we'll throw that in the script too, the flu season for, let's say, the end of 2019 or 2020 season, it was set to be a massive flu epidemic. It was going to be bad, not an epidemic, but it was going to be really bad. It was going to be one of the higher ones on record. Well, all of a sudden, the flu disappeared. It's a miracle. There's no flu. People aren't dying from flu. They're not even dying from car accidents. It's the damnedest thing. Nobody's dying of what they're dying from. They're all dying from, we'll call it the China virus. We don't want to give it a name just in case there's some coincidences that matches something. So we're going to call it the China virus, made by the Democrats. So anyway, so everything was falling into place for the Democrats, and the Patriot Party was struggling. Then you had machines involved and people transferring ballots in the middle of the night and pulling them out from underneath tables, and dead people voting, more people voting than registered voters in that state. So it's like, fraud was just all over the place. Everybody knows that couldn't happen in real life, because, how could you get away with widespread fraud openly? It just couldn't happen. So that's why I'm saying this is kind of a sci-fi, fantasy, mystery, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, everybody, the people on the Patriot side who love the United States, who love working, well, nobody loves working, but anyway, they were all good. They're like, okay, yeah, we got this guy in again. He'll finish. They were boarding off the southern border because there was invaders of diseases and coming in from the southern border, and it really wasn't secure. So the Patriot Party, they started securing the border to make it safer, so all these diseases and the China virus wouldn't come in from South American gangs and all that, because you always have gangs in all the sci-fi movies, apocalypse movies. You always have gangs. So anyway, so the virus was released. Election day came. The Patriot leader was ahead dramatically. Let's say 800,000 votes in Pennsylvania. He was ahead. And the next morning, 5 hours later, all of a sudden, he was losing. They found 800,000 votes out of the blue. A bunch of states did that. So anyway, so they knew by doing and cheating and lying and doing everything they could do that they would take back over the government. So they knew that. So that was the whole idea of the Democrats working with China to develop a virus that they could release worldwide. See, in that way there, if you do it worldwide, they don't suspect you, because it's like, okay, well, it's like the Tylenol scare. I think it was back in the 80s, maybe the 70s. I can't really remember, where Tylenol was poisoning people. So you throw, to put them off of you throw them a curve and you say, okay, so this lady poisoned a whole bunch of bottles in different areas, so people were dying left and right, and she was trying to kill her husband. She did succeed. That way there, it didn't look like she did it. Well, he just bought some Tylenol off the shelf. So anyway, so that's the whole thing with on my movie here, on my script, is about deceit, what have you. They don't care the cost. The Democrats wanted to take control so bad that they were willing to poison every country on the planet to get what they wanted. And of course, China, they were backing the Democrats because they wanted them to take power, because China is a big power and they're going to take over everything. So they knew that, and they'll work with them, and there's all kinds of politics involved and people getting payoffs, and the head guy's son just happened to be getting millions of dollars from China and other countries. So it's a whole big, long, drawn-out process. So I'm just trying to do a quick reference for you. So anyway, so they cheated, they changed names, the machines screwed up, and more people voting than registered voters, and people voting in multiple states and all that. So there was a lot of fraud going on. Something like everybody, like I say again, that couldn't happen in real life. Everybody knows there's no fraud when it comes to elections. So I want everybody to know that this is not pointing to any similarities in the past election in the United States. We don't want to give people the wrong idea. So this is all made up. No facts here, people. Or you go like that and say, I don't see any fraud. I don't see anything. Everything looks good. Oh, yeah, it does, doesn't it? So anyway, so then the Democrats took over. They cheated to win the election, fraud, what have you. So now they're in bed with China. So they kept locking down the United States, and then as soon as the Democrats took over, no more lockdown. They're like, oh, well, we don't need to keep everything locked down. We'll slowly start opening stuff. It'll all be good. No reason to lock it down. Because they got the Patriots out of office. And the Democrats, they care about one thing, power in themselves. They don't care about the United States citizens. They don't care about the United States. But then again, they're working with China. So, I mean, hey, you know. But anyway, so that's a pretty good script. Give you a rough idea how the script works. So I think it would be a good movie. I think it would be a good movie. Short movie. You know, you could cut it down to an hour and a half movie. You know, doing all the different things. So anyway, so this China virus that was worked on with the Democrats in China was released. Devastation, economies collapsing, just a horrific mess. Democrats taking over, and so anyway, so I just wanted to give you a rough thing on how it would be, and they don't care. It's like you die on the side of the road, you died of the China virus, that sort of thing. So there's so much political involvedness in this story. Doctors being undercut, doctors being cut off, they can't make any videos and post them, contradicting what the Democrats did. So they, would erase their videos off the internet and tweets and videos and all that. 'Cause they don't want nobody knowing the truth. But the truth always comes out, always does. So anyway, I think that's a good little story. I could probably put more in it. I should have wrote down a few things. I got the script here on my computer, my laptop here. Well, right now the laptop is showing how to make bagels. Look at that. Who would have thought? Hey, and there's no cats. Where's all the cats? There's always a cat on me. There's like no cats in here. So anyway, I just wanted to do a quick little rundown of, my little script there for sci-fi movie, and with the Democrats and China and viruses and deceit and destruction and power, people undermining the Patriot Party for 4 years, going to other countries telling them don't work with them, we're going to take over. So they knew this Democrat Party, very, very nasty people. Not all of them, there's probably some good ones, but this is a sci-fi fantasy movie. So anyway, they pretty much have trashed everything. By the end of the movie, the economy's going to collapse. Gas prices, $4 a gallon. Shortages of all kinds of stuff, inflation, and stuff like that. Typical stuff. So anyway, there's a cat in the window. Trying to catch a bug. So anyway, I just wanted to do a quick rundown on that. So I think it's a pretty good story. Because everybody knows something like that couldn't happen in real life. That there's no way that one country, the Democrats would, now he's eating a bug. The Democrats would ever work with China to create a virus and release it worldwide, and they wouldn't do that. I don't care how much power you want. You're not going to poison the entire population of the planet. Not the entire population, but all the different countries in that, to try to cover it up so they know Oh, wait, it only hit the United States. Oh, yeah, if we released it there, that would create problems. Because, see, if the virus was released in the United States, then they would be able to track down who did it, who released it, and the Democrat people would be like, uh-oh, kicks up. So they'd run for cover. So they figured, well, how can we do that? So they went to China, did it, and like I say, released it worldwide to take the focus off of them. And there you have it. So if you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you think it's a dumb story, that's fine too. There's a lot of bad movies out there, bad scripts. So this was just kind of a brief on a script for a sci-fi movie. Not sure what to call it. Whether we should call it Democrats, Power Grab. Yeah, Democrats, Power Grab, Democrats virus. Hey, we could call it that. We could call it a Democrat virus. There you go. Don't pick on China. So anyway, let me know what you think. I'm not sure how this turned out because, like I said, I didn't have my notes in front of me, which I should have. So anyway, there you go. Keep in mind, this whole thing here was all made up. There's no facts involved, right? No facts. No facts at all. All purely coincidence. Anything that just looks very similar to what's going on now is strictly coincidence. Okay? So keep that in mind, people. Because everybody knows that in real life, our government wouldn't do something like that. And neither would China. So, yeah. But anyway, tell me what you think of the story. I think it's pretty good. Could have been better, but hey, it's just a rough script.